Welcome back to Sean's Test Bench. This is our next PC build. This is going to be a very small mini ITX build. I picked out some hardware that I chose that I believe will make this a pretty fast computer. This is just going to be a standard desktop computer. It will be able to play some games. I'm using an A10 6800K processor. That is an AMD APU that has discrete graphics right on the processor. It will play some games, but I'm not building this as a gaming PC. This is just going to be a powerful desktop computer to stream the internet, just pretty much anything you want to do. This is going to do it well and very quickly. Let's go over the hardware and see what I picked out for this build. And then we'll go over the case last. There's some modifications going to be required to be done to this case to fit all this hardware in there. So let's go over that now. Let's start with the motherboard here. I chose this motherboard for the onboard AC Wi-Fi, the USB 3, and the HDMI out, so that this board will plug in any computer monitor or large screen TV. The motherboard is an MSI FM2-A75IA-E53. It supports AMD FM2 APU processors. The processor I chose is an AMD A10 6800K. This is an unlocked AMD APU. It has discrete graphics built right on the processor. It'll play 1080p video extremely well, even to your large screen TVs with no problem at all. It won't even break a sweat. The memory I chose is G-Skill Aries series for the lower profile to fit under this cooler that I purchased for it. But also it's 1866 gigahertz speed. It'll perform 20% faster than standard DDR3 1600 on this APU. The APU is really like a faster memory. For the CPU cooler, I chose this CoolJag because of the size. It's just an enormous 120 millimeter fan on a lower profile cooler. I believe it'll keep this A10 nice and cool, and in a small enclosure. I think this is the best choice that I had for this build. As far as for the storage, I have a Team Group L5 Lite 120 gig SSD. This is SATA 3. I also picked up a Western Digital Green 1 terabyte 3.5 inch storage drive to store all the content. The SSD makes the operating system extremely snappy and fast, and the storage drive stores all your content, your movies, your pictures, your documents and stuff. It keeps them separated and it keeps everything safer and runs a lot better. The power supply I chose, because of the small size, I didn't have a lot of room for a power supply, and this one actually barely fits in there at all as it is a Seasonic 300 watt 80 plus bronze power supply. This should run pretty cool, quiet, and be very reliable. Let's move this hardware over and set this case up and bring in the camera. I want to show you what features this case has and what it doesn't have, and what modifications I'm going to have to do to this case. Okay, here's the case. Push once and this door opens and you can access. There was a 3.5 inch opening, knockout, and a slim DVD. I will not be putting a DVD in this. Everybody streams everything online anyhow now. Not too many people use the disc anymore. Removing the side cover exposes that DVD rack that also holds a 3.5 inch hard drive. Removing the CD drive and hard drive bracket, which I'll have to make room for this board and this CPU cooler and power supply. There is a 3.5 inch hard drive cage at the bottom here that I'll also have to remove to make room for the power supply, and that will be discarded. The motherboard will be in here, the large heat sink. The power supply will be breathing cold air from underneath. I'm going to cut an access hole with a screen filter for the power supply to breathe cold air, and then modify the rear so the power supply rear can come out the back. I'll put a nice bracket on there. It'll look good. It'll be all painted black. This will be matte black, so hopefully it'll be pretty good. And the top from the factory is an 80 by 80 by 15 millimeter fan. and it's just a single 80mm fan. So I ordered 2 of these. I ordered them both ball bearing with dual ball bearings, and they're a matching set that's going to go in both these spots here. And hopefully the 2 of them run at a half speed because I want to keep it quiet. I'm hoping the 2 of them will exhaust the air out of this case. It's such a small case, there's pretty much no air in it. I'm hoping that it won't take much to exchange the warm air inside this chassis with cold air efficiently. Well, that pretty much covers what has to be done to modify this case to get all this hardware in there. So I'm going to take this out in the shop and get started on that now. Stay tuned for the next video. I also have a gaming computer that's going to start this week too. It's going to be my first water-cooled computer. So stay tuned for that episode coming out also. And thank you for watching Sean's Test Bench.